Okay, and welcome back to our list of the top 25 Gator athletic teams of all time. We're into the top 10, Robbie, so it's going to get exciting here.
Yeah, good stuff now.
Everybody's waiting at home. We'll start out with the '98 women's tennis team, which comes in at number 10. They won a national championship and never lost a match.
No, and I covered the NCAA tournament that year. It was at Notre Dame, and Florida beat Duke 5-1 in the final. It was really exciting. Dawn Booth just battled her butt off the whole day to win her match and kind of clinch it for Florida. It was a great day for Andy Brandy and those girls.
She was kind of a small girl, wasn't
yeah,
she?
and she was a competitor, one of the greatest competitors I've ever covered.
Booth and Nikitas were the great doubles team too. Stephanie Nikitas. I talked to her about it the other day for the story. I think she's a coach at UCF now.
Yeah, that team, Pat, 27-0, won the school's 16th women's tennis SEC championship. So a great year for Florida tennis.
It was, absolutely. Number 9 comes in 1982 women's swimming. This was one of the great women's swimming teams of all time. They really dominated.
Because of you-know-who.
Yeah, Tracy Coyne.
And she was only a freshman, Pat.
Yeah, she's, we did a list of the greatest Gator athletes to ever, when was that? That was about 99, I think.
Yeah, that was.
And she was number 1. I mean, that's how good she was. And she's an amazing.
She was just tremendous.
Amazing swimmer, and of course went on to be a great Olympian. I think she lives in Australia now. I think that's the case. I'm not sure on that, so don't.
You need to get a quote from her. And
don't quote me. The rumor is there's a rumor. I don't want to start that.
Another Spurrier rumor.
That's right.
Created by him, not about him.
Number 8, men's golf, 1973, and this one kind of hits home with me.
What
Robbie,
a team, Pat!
Because as great as it was, I remember thinking I could go out for the golf team. I was sadly mistaken when I watched these guys hit off the first tee.
Oh yeah.
Andy Bean, Gary Koch, Phil Hancock, Woody Blackburn. I mean, that's
just an incredible team, and they played great together.
And that was Buster Bishop, of course, was the head coach, a great coach, and that was just an amazing collection of talent. I mean, you think about obviously Andy Bean still playing on the Champions Tour. Gary Koch had a great career. May have been the greatest single player in Florida golf history. Now you're going to argue Billy Horschel now with what he's done, but he was a tremendous player. That was a great team.
And Pat, remember we played golf as kids back then. Gary Koch was just a youth legend in the state of Florida.
He was amazing from Temple Terrace.
A junior legend, yes.
He was. Talked to him the other day. He's doing real well. So that's the number 17, or 18, I'm sorry. We go to number 7, we're back to tennis. A lot of women's tennis teams on here, but there's a reason for it. They were all pretty good. This one's the 1996 women's tennis team, also an undefeated champion.
31-0, Pat.
The key was when Jill Krabus transferred from Texas.
She was a great player, and she just added everything to that team. Became the number 1 player, the woman of the player of the year in women's tennis that year.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure I got this right. I think the year before, didn't she lead Texas to the national title?
Yeah, I think she did.
And then came to Florida, and they did tremendous things. In fact, I think they had won it here in Gainesville the year before.
And Booth and Nikitas.
Booth and Nikitas again.
Again, yeah, they were a major part of that team, young players.
They were. So that's the number 6 team. And I know you guys have been waiting for this. Number 6, 2006 football. Now, wait a minute. You're going, wait a minute. 2006 national champs, you got them number 6, and they be higher?
You'll see why.
You'll see why they're not. But the 2006 football team, obviously, Robbie, I don't think anybody really thought this was going to be a national championship going into the season.
No, it just sort of fell that way. After they lost to Auburn, I don't think people thought, well, there goes the national title. But they got back into it that way, and they made the most out of what they had with Chris Leak. They revamped the offense for him. They played great defense. They had all those defensive linemen that were so good. It was basically a team that won on defense, and then that national title game, to do what they did to Ohio State's offense was remarkable.
It was, and the offense clicked in that game. The biggest 2 things they got that year were Tebow and obviously Percy Harvin. The thing I remember the most was that game in Knoxville, really, from that season. When they go up there, they're down. It looks like they're going to get beat. They can't get the offense going, and they hit obviously Tim Tebow with a 4th and 1 play after Chris slid a little early, and then hitting Dallas Baker on that same crossing route they scored on before.
But I remember going into that game, or into that season, there was a lot of talk, is this team tough enough to win close games? And they kind of answered that then, and that kind of sent them on their way that year.
Well, and it helped that they could play man-to-man defense or zone, whatever they wanted to play, and only have to have one safety back, because that one safety was Reggie Nelson, and nobody wanted to get the ball.
He covered the whole field. And the only loss was at Auburn, and it was pretty controversial with the leak pass fumble, which his arm did go forward, it looked like. But you can argue that all night long.
You could, and look, there's an argument both ways. They ended up losing the game, and there was a lot of finger pointing after the game. a lot of
kind of
people.
brought them back together.
It did. It brought them back together. And I think for Urban, it kind of, for him, it was hard to get that team to completely buy in, but that year he did get them. I don't think he did in 2005, but in 2006, remember in 05, they were a bad road team.
They were a terrible road team.
And they became a lot better road team. So they went on to win, of course, the national title, the big win over Alabama. It was just a great. No, they didn't beat Alabama. Who'd they beat in the championship game? SEC championship game. I'm going blank.
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Remember Percy Harvin with the touchdown?
Yeah, and Chris Sleek actually hurt his thumb.
Yeah.
Before the first half and came out. Remember he threw that pick right away for a touchdown?
Yeah, they lost momentum in a hurry in that game.
That was a great game, though. And, of course, Wandy with the big play, the recovery of the touchdown. I still haven't seen him jump on the ball. I've watched that play 100 times. He just comes out with it.
Somehow he gets it.
Somehow. That's the number 6 team. I'm kind of losing it here. We're going through all these teams. That's the number 6 team. We're going to come back. Yeah, the top 5 will be in the next one.
Ooh, exciting.
Here, I know everybody's waiting to see who's number 1. We'll be back with that. Till then, Robbie Andreu and Pat Dooley saying so long from the Sunshine State.